This is the homework helper for Chapter 4, Section 1 in the 8th grade workbook, Exponents. So if we take a look at the first set of questions there, they've given us some multiplication questions and they've asked us to write those in exponential form, meaning simply they want to write that same equivalent expression as an answer, but they want us to write it with exponents. So if we take a look at number 1, it says 6 times 6 times 6 times 6 times 6 times 6 times 6. Well, remember what an power is. Power consists of a base, which is the number that's being multiplied together, which is of course going to be in this case 6, and an exponent, and the exponent represents the number of times it's being multiplied together. So as we can see, looking at the question there, 6 is being represented here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So since the base is 6, the number I'm multiplying is 6, the base is going to be 6. And then the exponent is how many times it's there. Well, since it's there 6 times, the exponent is 6. So that's 6 to the 6th. Now, from that, you should be able to take a look and figure out 2 and 3. 4 looks a little bit different, though, because 4 is in a few different parts. We've got some 5s and we've got some b's. So you've got some options here. You can write both of these parts separately as exponents, or you can combine the 5s and then write just the b part with exponents. If we take a look at what we have here, we have 3 5s in this multiplication question. So that's going to be 5 to the 3rd. And then if we take a look at the b part here in number 4, we have 4 b's. So that's going to be b to the 4th. Now that would be one acceptable way to write your answer, 5 to the 3rd, b to the 4th. Granted, it is kind of a strange way to write the answer. Most mathematicians would not write the answer that way. What they would do here is they would actually go ahead and instead of writing 5 cubed for the front part here, they're actually going to multiply those 5s together. 5 times 5 is 25, times 5 again is 125. So this 5 to the 3rd part is going to change into 125. But there's nothing else you can do with b to the 4th. It would still be b to the 4th. So two possible answers there. 5 cubed times b to the 4th, because there's 3 5s and 4 b's. Or if you want to simplify the 5 to the 3rd part, that's 125 times b to the 4th. Okay, in the next part now, they're just asking us to simplify, and they've given us some simple expressions that we're supposed to figure out what they would mean in terms of exponents. So for instance, if we take a look at number 5, 10 squared. Well, that means I'm going to use 10 in a multiplication problem, because that's what the base indicates, and the exponent 2 indicates it's going to show up in that multiplication problem 2 times. So this is going to be 10 times 10. Well, 10 times 10, that's 100. Now, let's take a look at number 6, negative 6 squared. So that means I'm going to use negative 6 in a multiplication problem, and I'm going to use it 2 times. So that's negative 6 times negative 6, negative 6 times negative 6. Well, remember, a negative times a negative goes together to make a positive, and 6 and 6 makes 36. So negative 6 squared makes positive 36. 8 squared. Well, that means 8 is going to be used in the multiplication problem 2 times, since the exponent is 2. So that's 8 times 8. 8 times 8 is 64. And let's jump down to one where the exponent isn't 2, just to make sure we have a handle on what's going on here. Let's go down to number 12, negative 4 cubed. Well, negative 4 cubed, that's going to be negative 4 in a multiplication problem 3 times. So negative 4 times negative 4 times negative 4. Well, we've got 4 times 4 there, that's 16, times 4 again is 64, and then we just have to figure out the signs. Well, we start with the first two numbers. That would be a negative and a negative. A negative and a negative is going to make a positive. Then I got another negative here, so when I multiply a positive by a negative, the result is negative. So that's going to be negative 64. All right, let's go ahead and jump down here a little bit and take a look at the order of operations questions and some story problems here. Number 17, we're supposed to evaluate the expression for the given values of the variables. And the question says n to the 3rd minus 5, and they tell us they want n to equal 4. Okay, So since they're telling us they want n to equal 4, that means I'm going to change n into 4 and rewrite my question. So that's going to be 4 to the third power minus 5. Now, as I said a moment ago, what this is really about is this is about me doing order of operations now. Because really, when we did order of operations earlier this year, we didn't really have a lot of exponents in the mix because, well, they don't teach exponents till after they teach order of operations. So here it is now. Now they want you to spend time getting that exponent step in. Remember, the only thing that comes before exponents in order of operations would be parentheses. So exponents first here, as I said, so 4 to the third power. Well, we did that problem a minute ago just with negatives. 4 to the third power is 64. And so this is going to change into 64 minus 5. And 64 minus 5 is going to be my solution. 64 minus 5, that's going to change into 59. All right, let's look at a question that's much more difficult, that's got a lot more going with it. Number 20. A to the fourth plus 2 times b minus c squared for a equals 2, b equals 4, and c equals negative 1. So the first thing we have to do is change a into 2, b into 4, and c into negative 1. And so that means I'm going to rewrite this question. 2 to the fourth plus 2 times 4 minus negative 1 squared, and then I'm closing the parentheses. And you can see I made a little extra parentheses mark there, which I'm going to erase here in just a moment because I don't need it. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and look at the order of operations steps here. Now remember, order of operations would tell me to do parentheses first. So that means this part is going to get done first. Well, as you can see, I've got two things to handle in that set of parentheses there. I've got an exponent and I've got a subtracting a negative. But remember, I'm going to have to do the exponent first because when we go through the steps, exponents comes before subtracting. So I'm going to do negative 1 squared first. Negative 1 times negative 1 is going to generate positive 1. So that's how that's going to change. So I'm going to rewrite the whole thing. 2 to the fourth plus 2 times 4 minus 1. And all of a sudden this question looks a lot different. If you would have done the minus and negative part right away there, you would have been in trouble because that would have changed into plus, and some of you might have written 5. All right, still have parentheses to tackle there, so we're going to do the 4 minus 1 next, which is going to change into 3. So this is 2 to the fourth plus 2 times 3. And so now I've got some choices again to make here because I'm done with the parentheses. So I've got to take a look and see I have an exponent left in the front and multiplication in the end. Well, exponents comes before multiplication and divisions in that same step. So that means I've got to do 2 to the fourth next. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 again is 8, times 2 again is 16. And so that's 16 plus 2 times 3. And of course 2 times 3 is going to go next. Multiplication before addition. 16 plus 6. 16 plus 6 makes 22. All right, finally we'll take a look at question 22. Find the volume of a rectangular cube if the length of a side is 10 centimeters. And the hint there is that the volume is equal to the length cubed. So if they're told us the length is 10, all I have to do is change L into 10 and cube it to find the volume. So the volume here is 10 cubed. Of course, that's going to be the same as 10 times 10 times 10. 10 times 10 is 100, times 10 again is 1,000. So the volume of the cube is 1,000 centimeters cubed.